Welcome back to the Crash Out League TV. I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a while. Where have you guys been? What happened at the end of the season? We don't know what's going on. Why are you showing up all of a sudden? Hey, pipe down, sit down, get you some popcorn, because we got some things to catch you up on. That's what this episode's all about. So let's go ahead, let's get started. You know you got me, your boy A Dub. And you know I can't do this without my co-host. Manny, talk to just catch him up a little bit, talk to him real quick.
Man, hey Dub, listen, man, it's good to be back in the seat once again, brother. We got ourselves the final episode. Some people they were calling, they were texting, they were emailing, they were sending carrier pigeons. They were doing everything they could, trying to say, hey, where are you guys at? What happened in the last episode? Why don't we have a last episode last week of the season? We're gonna get all that here for you. I know a lot of you might have been thinking about, hey, who goes for the chip? Who's the one that comes out on top? And of course, gets the cash money pride plus a year long of bragging rights until we get to this point. Once again, hey, Dub, man, talk to the people. Let them know how this one finished off.
We're gonna go ahead and give you guys what went down at the end of the season, your 2025 recap from the Crash Ali TV with your boys. So, where did we leave off at? It was the second round of the playoffs, and there were four teams still competing for a spot into the Crash Out League Championship. Now, who were those teams? We had Mo City Menace with Coach Preach, who just came off a previous season of winning his first championship here in this league. Then we had 2 inches too big, aka Money Manny with Coach Manny, who just returned this season after leaving the league for a year hiatus. Then we had previous champ, first champ ever in the Crash Out League, the organization Smooth Criminal with Coach A Dub hanging in the Final Four. Then we had Coach Fabian, second year player coach in this league, already fighting to see if he can get into the championship round. Now, Manny, this was intense. You know, to get to this point, there was a lot of things that had to fall into place. And I don't know about you, but I didn't think these would be the last four teams. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, all four of them showed a lot of fight. I mean, if you want to go from, Mo City all the way down, of course, we know Preach, he's a championship winning coach. He's going for his second chip in a row, but also at the same time, he played that mid-season tournament perfectly. He played that to his utmost advantage. And, at times, it looked like he was maybe singling a few people out, but nonetheless, it worked out for him. Again, he's just in the second round of the playoffs. He is on his way trying to get to a championship. Or 2 inches too big. There was a lot of fight from this team. Again, taking that kind of year off hiatus from the Crash Out League, trying to come back and make a big splash. You know, here for this team, they were one of those that maybe you felt got a little targeted from Mo City Menace, but hey, they're able to fight, and now they find themselves again close and just one round away from getting to their first ever championship. For the Smooth Criminals, again, you talked about it, they are already a championship under their belt, but they're trying to get that second one. Some people think, hey man, that was a long time ago. Are you able to really kind of get back to it? Are you really able to, are you still the same team? And so there was a lot of question marks, but again, they continued to fight and fight and fight, and they always had that same goal. And then for Fabo, hey, you can't say enough about the young guy. He has continued to really battle through it. And so his ability to get here into the semifinal round, it just speaks a lot to the way that organization is ran and kind of what they got going on over there.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it no better myself, man. Let's go ahead and dive in and show you guys what happened in the semifinal round. in order to get to the finals. First, we're gonna start off with 202 bid, aka Money Manny, with Coach Manny, who landed at the number 7 seed. Everybody, the number 7 seed. I'm talking about the last spot available in order for you to place into the playoffs, and he was able to take down Coach Barlow and Team CDL, the number 2 team in the first round, by putting up 151 to Coach Barlow's 136. So he earned his spot here in the semifinals. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw his upset happening to Coach Barlow. But hey, he fought for his spot to be here. Then we got Coach Fabian here with Team Fabo, aka the Jamaica Workers, the number 1 seed, the team that was the only team to get a bye here in the playoffs, which is exceptional here because it was very competitive all the way to the end, even to the last game of the season, and he was able to hold out. And now he's coming off a bye week, a rest week. A lot of people think that it's more of a disadvantage than an advantage because now you got to figure out, can you wrap up quick enough? So, what was the result of this game? We had 2 inches too big, put up 130.3. What a score. Hell of a score right there. It's hard to beat that. But then Coach Fabian and Team Fabo put up a historical second round score of putting up 177.7. I mean, Manny, I think this is the highest points ever put up in the second round. Any thoughts on what happened between these two organizations in the second round?
Yeah, again, I mean, one of the big things certainly was, even if you're 2 inches too big, you kind of got to go out with your head held high saying, hey, we put up a competitive score that would have been competitive any other week, but when you run into somebody with 170,
Mhm.
there's just not much you can do for Coach Fabian. 177. That is somebody whose team is playing right now at the highest confidence level that they possibly can. I mean, they're going out there and they're just executing and dominating. And so this right here, when I, looking at this, that's exactly the kind of streak and hot streak you want to get on right before you get to that championship round. So again, I mean, Fabian, he's that number 1 seed for a reason, and he definitely showed it here in this matchup.
All right, let's move on to the other side of the bracket where we had Smooth Criminal, who finished number 5 right there in the middle of the pack at the end of the season. Then we had Mosi Menace with Coach Preach, the defending champ, finished at number 3 to get to the semifinals. Now, each of them had their own journey. One was very consistent and dominant towards the end of the season and Coach Preach, and the other one had to claw their way through injuries and picking up guys through the portals and stuff like that in order to fight their way to this spot. And that was Coach A Dub with Smooth Criminal. Now, in the first round, Coach A Dub took out the number 14 and Coach Cam and Team C minus, putting up 154 to Coach Cam's 149. It was a high clip game, very competitive. It could have went either way, but Coach A Dub, he just outlasted Coach Cam in a game was able to get to this point in the semifinals. Then we had Coach Preach, who went against the returning Coach Dono and the Prodigal Sons, and he put up a 116 to Coach Dono's 102. So not the greatest start that he wanted in his first round defending his championship run, but it was just enough to get the job done to get to this point. That's all that matters when you're going through the playoffs. Can you get enough to put yourself above the other team at the end of the day, regardless of what the outcome of the number is? So, Smooth Criminal put up 120.7. A good average score, not that crazy of a score, but hey, we done seen people win with less. Now, Coach Preach and Mo City Menace. They put a 148.2. So close for Coach A Dub and Smooth Criminal. They fought hard throughout the whole season to get to this point, just to fall short right here in the semifinal round before the finals. But hey, Coach Preach was able to move on to compete to go back to back, Manny. Back to back. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for Smooth Criminal, unfortunately, it just wasn't the performance that they were looking for. But for Mo City Menace, like you talk about, hey, just win, man, and that's what they do over there. It's just win. Doesn't matter how pretty it is, how ugly it is. You just gotta find yourself a way to get a win, and so certainly, he was definitely able to do that. And so this one was a good matchup, nonetheless. This one was a good, smart matchup between both sides. But hey, end of the day, Mo City Menace, they have a proven track record, especially being in this at this point, and this deep into the season, that at that point, it's just kind of relying on instinct, and they're able to get themselves through to the final.
Definitely bouncing back from that first round and showing everybody that they still could put up a high club. So that moves us on to the Crash Out League Championship with Mo City Menace, who's the number 3 team, versus Team Fable, aka the Jamaica Workers, who was the number 1 team. This was probably the most anticipated championship game matchup for the whole season. Everybody thought it was either going to be Coach Fabian versus Coach Preach, or Coach Barlow versus Coach Fabian, or Coach Barlow versus Coach Preach. Like, it was those three names that was always being juggled, 1, 2, 3. That was like they the team that will most likely make it to the championship. So the fact that Coach Preach and Coach Fabian was able to live up to the hype and make it here to the championship, it made it the most anticipated matchup of all. Now remember, in the Crash Out League, the championship is 2 weeks long. You get 1 week to do what you could do to evaluate the team, and to come back for a second week and see if you can adjust enough to either take over and win the match or hold somebody out to win a match. And we finna reveal what happened here in the championship. So, Mo City Menace with Coach Preach put up 310.88 points in 2 weeks. What a number. That means Coach Preach, if you had to average out the 2 weeks, that means Coach Preach had to average close to 155 points for both weeks in order to make that happen. Then we got Coach Fabian, who came up short, putting up 232.62 points. Now, both teams put on a hell of a show, but Coach Preach went above and beyond to defend his crown. Manny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, exactly that. He knows what it's like to be in these positions. You think maybe, as a younger guy, second year in the league, might have had some of those kind of like, hey, here for the first time, you're trying not to let it get to you, but of course, you're thinking every move that you make is now over calculated and overthought, and just trying to make sure that you've got the best possible outcome that you possibly can get. But again, when you're Mo City Menace and you've been here for a few times already, and you know what it's like to win one already, you know what it's like to just trust your guys and to go out there. So I think for Mo City Menace, again, hey, now you've got a bigger target on your back, right? Because now you've got everybody trying to take you out for this upcoming season. But for Coach Fabian, man, you take this as a learning experience. Hey, I got to the chip. So what's to say that I can't get there again? Especially dealing with, stuff on the fly and everything like that. So I think for both sides, obviously this is mutually beneficial. But of course, man, you want to end up with that championship in your hand at the end of it, but not able to do so. So big shout out to Coach Preach going back to back, man. He's got himself now 2 championships in a row. He's looking for a third, but of course, like I mentioned, man, a lot of people not going to help him get there.
Yeah, man. Like Manny said, shout out to our 2025 Crash Out League champion, Coach Preach, and Mo City Menace going back to back in 2024 and 2025. Once again, Coach Preach will be hosting up the trophy for the end of this season. It's showing off that he's holding on to not one, but 2 trophies here in this league. Congratulations to Coach Preach and Mo City Menace. Now the question is, can he do a three-peat? Is this a dynasty? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. We shall see. Now, let's go ahead and move on to what the draft position will look like coming up this season. I mean, we just finished announcing how the season ended. Y'all know how it goes. The worst teams get inside the lottery picks, and then everybody else, depending on where you finish at in the playoffs, you will end up in a lock position 5 through 10. So we'll go ahead and announce that. So at number 5, we got Team Barlow, aka Team CDL, with Coach Just. At number 6, we got the Prodigal Sons with Coach Dono. Then we got Smooth Criminal at 7, aka Coach A Dub. Then we have Money Manny, aka 2 inches too big, with Coach Manny sitting at number 8. At number 9, Team Fabo with Coach Fabian. At number 10, Mo City Menace, our back-to-back champion, sitting here dead last in the draft pick. Now, when it comes to the lottery, we got Team Luck, we got Gridiron Cartel, we got Team GBK, and we have Team C minus. So Coach Lucky, Coach Deshaun, Coach Mike, and Coach Cam. Everybody, congratulations. You have a lottery pick here in the Crash Out League. Now, if you don't remember, just because your position is 1, 2, 3, and 4 here in the lottery round, don't mean that's what it's going to be once we are able to do the lottery. These numbers can change. You can go from 4 to 1. You can go from 1 to 3. It all just depends on how the lottery ends up. Now, when will that lottery happen? It will be soon. We will be announcing it. But for right now, congratulations to these 4 teams for being inside the lottery. And we wish you guys nothing but the luck. Now, we move on to announce our 2025 all Crash Out teams. This is put up to the vote of the coaches around the league to vote on the players who we think was the most efficient, the most dominant, helping their teams depending on the position that they are in. The way that it works, we have a first team crash out and a second team crash out. You get to choose one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 kicker, and 1 defense. Like I said, everything was decided by the coaches around the league. So let's start off with our first team all crash out team. Starting off with the quarterback. It was Josh Allen who won first team all crash out in this league. And at running back, we had CMC and Jameer Gibbs. So shout out to these players and the organizations that they were a part of. At the wide receiver position, we have Puka Nakua and JSN as our first team all crash out here in this league. Shout out to these players and the organizations that they were a part of. For tight end, Trey McBride was a unanimous vote here in this league. Shout out to Trey McBride and the organization that they was a part of for winning first team all crash out. First team all crash out, flex, kicker, and defense. At the flex position, we got Emeka Abuka. I probably botched that name, but we gonna ride with it. At the kicker and defense position, we got Brandon Arbery and the Texans defense. Shout out to these players and shout out to the organization that had them on their team. Now we move on to second team all crash out. Starting at the quarterback position, we got Drake May, who put up a great performance for Coach Preach and Mo City Menace and earned his spot here on the second team. At running back, we got Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor. Both had a great year this year here in the Crash Out League. Congratulations to these players and the organization that they were a part of. Moving on to wide receiver and tight end. At wide receiver, we have Devontae Adams and we have Amari St. Brown. At tight end, we have Tyler Warren, a rookie, earning his spot here on second team all crash out. Shout out to these players and the organizations that they were a part of. Moving on to the flex, kicker, and defense. At flex, we have McMillan. At kicker and defense, we have Cameron Dicker, and we have the Seattle defense. So shout out to these players and the organization that they was a part of. And that should be it for our first team all crash out and second team all crash out. Manny, any thoughts on the matter on the teams that were put together?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a whole, I think the whole league is full of a bunch of people who know ball. It's a bunch of ball knowers, and so they some great picks there. Obviously, a few that come to mind. I think somewhat surprising, right? That Matty Stafford not here, although he wins the NFL MVP. But I think as a whole, obviously Josh Allen was a force to be reckoned with. And he definitely helped a lot of teams. And so I think one thing that I'm going to be really interested in to see is just kind of how this next season takes shape, right? Obviously, this was kind of like JSN's big, coming out party, and he's able to really establish himself as one of the dominating forces in the league. So it'll be interesting to see just how quickly the guys that we have on these all crash out league teams, how quickly they go in the draft. Some people might see this video and they go, hey, as many guys as I can get on my squad from last year's all season teams, that's who I'm going to try to pick up. So real interested to see just exactly kind of how this thing's going to work and really what's the strategy for some of the league mates going forward. But nonetheless, very, very big congratulations to all the teams and the smart managers and coaches that were able to pick them up in the draft.
Who draft strategy turned out to be a season long masterclass. These draft day picks made all the difference when it came down to it. Winning games they need to win, being able to make the right trades with the same players that they drafted, being able to make the right combinations to help them win playoff games. And the coach and organization that they decided to give draft day guru to was Coach Fabian and Team Fabo. Congratulations to Coach Fabian. You are the 2025 Draft Day Guru. We move on to biggest upset. Now, this award is to the team that shocked the league by pulling off the most surprising and memorable win of the season. This organization, this award goes to the organization who pulled off a stunner and shook the league based off the win that they got at the time that they got it. And this goes to Gridiron Cartel, putting up 133.54 to beat Team C minus when they put up 132.26 in week 14, 2 weeks before the playoffs started. And with this win, it shook up the whole playoff tree and moved guys in position from 1 through 5, which ultimately ended up putting Coach Cam in the 4 spot instead of the 3 spot, which caused him to lose in the first round, even though he put up over 140 points. Versus if he was in the 3rd spot, he would have played Coach Dono, and that 140 would have beat Coach Dono's 108. So this was a significant win here in this league. Shout out to Coach Deshaun. Shout out to Gridiron Cartel for winning the biggest upset award here in this league. Then we got Rookie Coach of the Year. Now this just goes to the best newcomer, the fresh new face into the league, the guy that wasn't here the previous year. And I feel like we all know who we talking about because we only had one of those this season. And it's going to be Coach Deshaun and the Gridiron Cartel going back-to-back awards here in the 2025 season. Shout out to Coach Deshaun for winning Rookie Coach of the Year. I'm excited to see what he does in year number 2. Comeback Coach of the Year. This is to highlight the coach who silenced the critics, overcoming adversity, or was just a rough start to deliver a huge bounce back performance this season. You know, whether they was coming back into the league at the hiatus, whether they started off 0-3 and came back and fought all the way back. This is who this award is for. The person that never gives up, the person that never listens to what they was told what they supposed to be. And that goes to the Prodigal Sons with Coach Dono. Shout out to Coach Dono, who took a year hiatus away from the league and still was able to come into the league this year and be a competitive team and earning his spot into the first round playoffs. So shout out to Coach Dono. Waiver wire wizard. This is for the coach who worked the waiver wire magic. I'm talking about they were staying up Monday night just so when it hit midnight, they was coming around just so they could get the waiver wire picks early, watching to see what guys was being moved, how their number was moving 1 through 10, so they know what priorities that they had. They really was inside the waivers in order to try to better their team. So this award goes to Coach Cam and Team C minus. He made a lot of moves. He had a lot of impressive pickups that nobody was paying attention to, and they ended up working out for him. So shout out to Coach Cam. We have Mr. Impact Award. Now this goes to the coach whose decisions, whether they were brilliant or they were messed up, either it helped them or it didn't. But either way, their decisions help impact whatever was going on in the league. Whether they took somebody out the playoffs, helped somebody get to the playoffs, whether they made a trade that impacted wins and losses throughout the season, the list goes on. So Mr. Impact Award goes to Team Mo City Menace with Coach Preach. Shout out to Coach Preach. You are a Mr. Impact Award winner. Now we got Standing on Business Award. This is to recognize a coach who delivered consistent dominance week in and week out. I'm talking about everybody who played this coach. If the calendar came up and this coach was on it, they were sweating a little bit. They were like, oh man, this team is hot. They out here taking names, no matter what the score is. They figure out how to be out on top. So, Standing on Business Award goes to Coach Barlow and Team CDL. This organization was very dominant during the regular season. There wasn't too many games that they were losing, but week in and week out, you had to worry about Coach Barlow and Team CDL coming to your house or you going to their house and figuring out how you could get a win. So shout out to this organization. Now the award that we all pretty much anticipate the most here in this league, Coach of the Year. This is the ultimate award that you could get from the coaches around the league. This is the coaches voting who they think is the most competitive, the most, competent, the coach that they felt like was able to make the right calls at the right time and consistently was doing it week in and week out. And he was able to lead their team to the success that they had. So the coaches around the league came down to a vote, and a coach that won Coach of the Year for the 2025 season was Coach Fabian from Team Fabo. Year number 2, coach. Congratulations for winning Coach of the Year here in the Crash Out League for year 2025. I'm talking about going from Rookie Coach of the Year last year to Coach of the Year in year 2. What a leap, Manny. Manny, what do you think about these awards?
Yeah, I mean, huge jump, especially for Fabian and his ability to just be better than he already was in the last year, and that's something hard to top, but he's able to do that. But a special shout out to all these coaches, again, to those who were, whether you were nominated for an award, whether you won an award or not, man, you guys are what make this league special. So a huge shout out to each and every one of you. Thank you all for getting your picks in. Obviously, that makes our jobs and our lives a lot easier. But a special shout out, man, to each and every one of you coaches who really put everything into the Crash Out League and are able to allow us to do stuff like this. But yeah, of course, man, these coaches who all won an award here today, justified and rightfully due for each one of these coaches.
Definitely, definitely. Now, let's go ahead and give these guys some announcements. Some announcements that's coming in 2026 based off demand, based off, the things that were said around the league throughout the season. And at the end of the season, this isn't everything, but this is what we have been allowed and approved to announce to you guys so you guys know what's coming. Power rankings will be back for the 2026 seasons. Now, these power rankings will totally be upon me and Manny and what we think based off of things that's going around the league. Who do we think are ranking 1 through 10, based off wins, losses, trades being moved, division, all that. So, power rankings will be back and it will be big here on the show. We are bringing back rivalry week. It was highly demanded, highly demanded. Everybody loved it, showing up, being able to have that bragging rights, being able to steal the other person's waiver wire at the end of it. So rivalry week will be back. The bounty board will be back as well, and it will come with some stipulations this time. It won't just be for bragging rights. There will be some stipulations to it, and that'll be announced later on. But get excited. The bounty board is back, and somebody gonna start off with it, and somebody gonna try to collect it. So be ready for that. Stay on your toes. Then we have the mid-season tournament returning for 2026. I'm talking about this was unanimous. Nobody went against not having a mid-season tournament back. The fact that you get to fight for your spot and get a guaranteed playoff spot by winning this was highly demanded here in this league. So the midseason tournament will be back for the 2026 season. And our last announcement for the season, there will be a possible league expansion. Yes, you heard it here first. Yes, this is clear. A possible league expansion, everybody. Yes, that means there's a chance that we won't be just a 10-team league anymore. I know that's huge. I know since the league has been started, it's been 10 teams year in and year out. But hey, the Crash Out League is getting traction. A lot of people want to be in. A lot of people is putting in their application. So the commission's like, in the right conditions, we might need to add more teams. We could be going to 12. We could be going to 14. Who knows? But hey, all the coaches that participated last year are returning. So we have a guaranteed 10 teams. What comes after that? Who knows? But the commish wanted us to make sure that y'all know there's blood in the water. And there's some new sharks that trying to come into town
Ooh.
and compete for that championship. What are you gonna do? You gonna fold and let the new sharks come in and take over your territory, or are you gonna defend the water? The choice is yours. Manny, what's your thoughts?
Man, I love it. I love it. Everything down here just makes the league that much more exciting. You know what I mean? Just continues to amp up and really amplify just everything that we got going on. Like you mentioned, people want to join the Crash Out League because they know the dedication that it takes. They know what they're going to get in return. So I think it's fantastic. Obviously, power rankings, man, that's going to be great for you and I really to be able to go down and break down each team for everybody that's able to watch. Rivalry week was huge. It was fantastic. And I'll tell you this, in that group chat, there were certainly a lot of people who were chit chatting, a lot of people who really wanted to start saying stuff to their rival. It's only going to amplify. And soon enough, we'll find ourselves with some Michigan and Ohio State blood going on, and that's what's going to be really exciting. Bounty board, that's going to be fantastic. Again, we can't share everything about the bounty board with you folks, but just the fact that it's coming back, it really gives you just something extra to really go for, something to really strive for. That's going to be exciting. Mid-season tournament, like you said, A-Dub, everybody wanted the midseason tournament. There wasn't a single person that had an objection to saying, I don't know if I want this back or not. It was a lot of fun. It was something people really, really enjoyed. And so I think it's going to be a fantastic hit once again. And then possible league expansion, man. Hey, people want to join. People want to get in this, especially while it's, fairly new. They want to solidify their spot. So listen, it's going to take dedication even more so. And, with 12, 14, Coach Preach, that's just going to get your chances of three-peating a little bit lower, man. So, again, A-Dub, fantastic, fantastic news. Great announcements, but we'll look to the commish, especially about those lottery picks, because we are very, very excited to see who's going to take the one of one.
So, you guys heard it here. This is your recap of how the season ended. And you got a little future announcements to what's to come, what's coming back. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited. I'm super excited to be reporting this. I'm super excited to be reporting for the future. So you guys just stay tuned. It's a lot of things that's coming. Football season is almost here. Just hold out just a little longer. Hold out just a little longer. It's almost here. So you know what that means. That means the content is coming back. That means the draft is right up on us. If you haven't been doing mock drafts already, you might want to start hopping on it now. And you might want to do more than 10, just to say that. So make sure you're tuning in. Listen to all the announcements. The next video will be coming soon. There's no date just yet. We like starting towards once the draft is about to happen. So we will be back in August. We just wanted to give you guys an update to how the season ended this year. So Appreciate you guys for tuning in, watching for this long, especially if you still here. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. But that is it for year 4, I believe. Year 4 here in this league, in a crash out league, anticipating year number 5 coming up. We'll catch you guys in the next video in August. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's your boy A Dub, your boy Manny signing out. We'll catch you on the next one.